And so let's go ahead and look at member functions. Member functions, like member variables, are something that we can define inside of our structs. Member functions will be functions that are specific to our struct. Essentially, they are functions that will be called for our variable. And the way we do that is by defining it as we would a normal function outside of a struct. We can do void, and then we can do greeting. We don't need any arguments for that. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and print hello world. There we go. Okay, and let's go ahead and create a my struct variable, var, and then let's go ahead and call it. We do var and then the member access operator as usual, and then greeting, which is the name of our function. And then doing that, let's go ahead and see that work in action. And as you can see, we have hello world right here. So as you can see, functions are different than variables, where you actually need to specify whether or not you have arguments for it. But it's essentially the same thing. You essentially do the same thing, accessing it as you would a variable. Except, again, the only difference is that with functions, you sometimes need to pass stuff into them. You need to use the parentheses to signify that, hey, this is a function, and whether or not you're passing in a argument or not. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and pass in another member, or print out another member. So int m num 0, and then let's just go ahead and change that here. Int num, and then let's go ahead, delete this, and I want to do. Let's go ahead and change this. Num equals num. And so as you can see right here, this is why it's good practice to put an m underscore in your members, because what if we change this? Well, which of these is being assigned to which? Is this being assigned to this, or is this being assigned to this? Well, the answer is that the member right here is being getting the value from what we pass into it. But you can see how it's kind of confusing. It's kind of ambiguous for us as humans to be able to read this. But the compiler has no problem. But again, we as programmers, we're the ones writing the code, so we need to make it as easy for us as we can. So that's why it's good practice to either signify that these are members with the m underscore, or even just an underscore will work just fine. Just whatever to make it more or less ambiguous between what's being assigned to what. And so what this will do is it'll print num after assigning it. So we can do that here. Num, and then let's go ahead and give it our value. So let's go ahead and do 5, and then that should work. And then let's go ahead and run that again, and as you can see here, we have 5. And this is because, again, we called the greeting member function through the member access operator, and then we passed in the argument of 5. And so again, these member functions can work just the same as other as normal functions, but they need to be called through the member access operator and the variable that's assigned to the type. We can't just call this as we would a normal function, otherwise we would get an error, as we can see here. It says undeclared identifier. It doesn't know what this is, even though we've defined it right here. Even though we know that there's a function right here, the compiler can't see it because it doesn't know where it's coming from. So we need to give it a variable to be called through. In this case, var is our variable to call it, and so that's how we go ahead and call it. And so I hope this was helpful in helping you understand member functions.